Welcome to Metro Hair Wear. I'm Patrice Haynes, and today we are in for a special treat. Yes, none other than Texas himself, the big Tommy P. Yay! We are joined by Mr. Tommy P. I call him Tommy P, but if he wants to, express the pronunciation of his last name, then he can do that for us viewers. And I just want to thank you, Tommy. Welcome to Metro Hair Wear. You know your girl be doing pranks.
Yes, I know.
And we keeping it real right here. We keeping it real, I'm telling you. But it's raw and uncut. So I was so blessed to come across such an interesting icon. He's very interesting. An interesting icon in the beauty industry, I can say to all you trendsetters and stylists out there. And one thing that I've noticed, I've had being honored to work with him in the field of beauty, is that he's humble. Always looks the part, but not only look the part, because some of us look the part, but we don't present what we're looking like. No offense to anybody, so don't take that the wrong way. But I'm saying when you look the part, then it raises an eyebrow or the next question like, well, can he perform services? And then it raises another question is how long he's been doing this, because he looked like he's a veteran at this.
Well, I actually am. I'll tell you how I started. I had a boss. My first boss told me, you got to dress up to go up.
All right. Oh.
I mean, and it kind of sticks with you.
Can I use that?
Well, I might have to patent that one. We'll work on it, though.
You got to dress
up.
It's all about business. Wait a minute. You got to dress up.
Dress up to go up.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
So I always try to express that in the younger generation, stylists coming out. Make sure you look the part, because people are looking at you from head to toe.
That's
right. If they like what they see, then they're going to visualize it. They're going to say, well, I wonder, like you said, can that person do some hair?
Yeah.
So you work on those things, and they motivate you to become a better person, better stylist.
All right.
That's what I'm about.
So, Mr. Tommy P, and I got to share this with you now, and I've had the honors of allowing Mr. Tommy P to lay hands on my hair. So this cut that you see is very versatile, and I call it the Tommy P specialty haircut. So a few days ago, last week, I was in West Hollywood, California, and I got an opportunity to visit Kim Kimball's hair studio, and I was approached with a couple of things that I'll share with you on another segment. But one thing I was asked was, do you need a haircut? And so I kind of looked like, do I really look like I need a haircut? You will not touch this haircut. It is a precision signature haircut, none other than. So, if you all want to know how to get a similar cut with your own, features and benefits, you can just email us, and the information will be on the site below. Just email us and we'll tell you how to get in touch with Mr. Tommy P. But until then, we want to keep this interview rolling. Right. So, Mr. Tommy, can you tell us, I don't want to know how long you've been in the industry, but I do want to know, have you been in it long enough to say that you left your mark in the beauty industry as you are continuing to do so?
Well, I believe so. I think a lot of what I've done had a lot to do with how I started off working with my wife, because we had this idea that we would take young stylists, help to mold them, and that would be our imprinted signature. On the stylists themselves. Because it's all about how you grow in the industry. If I can take something that I know, like you talked about, the haircut, signature haircuts, which I love to do, then it's special to me. If I see someone that's interested in learning, that's what I'm all about.
All right.
So I think it's a wonderful thing to be in the industry and be able to do that.
And see, what I gather out of that is that you're not selfish in your craft.
No.
You're very creative, and you want to share with what you've been given and inspired with. And that's not a bad thing, because in this industry, and I don't know if you've come across many, but I'm sure you have, you come across other licensed professionals or stylists that don't want to share. And some of us, we're afraid to ask another licensed professional whether you coexist with them in the same environment, or they're across town and you heard about something they did and you want to call them up and ask them, and you feel intimidated, and we shouldn't,
Exactly. Well, for a long time, I felt that, that's something that we needed in the industry. to be able to turn to one another professionally,
Okay.
and speak the truth about what it is
Right.
that we do.
Okay.
And if we can't do that as a whole, then what's going to happen? We're going to lose the profession to people that are doing things that are not done professionally. I'm not putting, that.
Right.
I'm just trying to put it to a certain way that we have to be able to turn to each other, in order for us to grow. We just have to.
And see, I didn't show him my cue cards, but that takes me to the next question that I was going to ask you is how do you rate the quality of service or salon services in the salons today? We're in the 21st century, so, I was interviewing a young lady in the New York area, and she was asked a question about trend setting, and she did comment very well. She articulated about, some of us being stuck in the 20th century. Now, not so much that we're being stuck in the 20th century, in the 21st century, but we are taking, if a lot of the hairstyles from back then are coming back. But with a twist, with a flip, the waves, the pin curls, the barrel curls.
Right. Well, I wouldn't exactly go as far as to try to rate a hair salon because everybody's going to have their own thing and their own clientele. But as far as the growth in the industry, there's always room for growth in the industry. I think that hair shows have a lot to do with that. We're everywhere. Beauty is everywhere.
Yes. Yes.
So wherever we go, that's the first thing we look at.
Right.
That's what we're gonna visualize. And when we visualize something, it's kind of like looking at a canvas that's empty. Same thing with a person that sits in your chair.
Okay.
And so you start to look at it and you start to say, well, wow, I'm seeing, it's called that third eye. It's kind of like saying, look what I got.
When you said the third eye, I thought about one of them TV shows, that eye right there, the thing was looking at me. I had nightmares for days, so can you give me another demonstration?
Now see, now you taking it now. Don't take it out of context now. I'm not talking about monsters and stuff. I'm talking about visualizing something that other people, it's kind of like being an artist and thinking.
I visualized the monsters, honey.
Say cut. We don't cut. No, I mean, but you're
this is raw.
But look, you're using something that nobody else can use though. When you use the third eye. I mean, when you really think about it, because people are like, well, how did you come up with putting something on somebody's head, creating something?
Right.
And that's what I mean by taking a blank canvas. You take somebody that's, let's say you take somebody who hadn't had their hair done in forever. And then they come in, you all excited because you're like, I'm doing something to this head,
Yes.
And so automatically you go into this mode, you go into this thing like, okay, I got this visualization. I'm going to try to explain to the best of my ability because that's important. They got to know what it is they're getting, but they can't actually see it, but you have to help them to see it, So once you do that, then you create it, then everything just blossoms from there.
Okay.
And you create something that not a lot of people can do.
Yes.
So,
now that we're, I'm comprehending what you're saying in a different level, not in a monster type of way. Because I have this saying about when I see a canvas, I think of visions. So I have visions, and those visions are pretty much like, I have the relationship, and I say, Lord, I thank you for the vision, or Lord, help me with the vision, because sometimes I don't see nothing. That's where that third eye comes in handy. I don't see anything. I want the third eye. Lord, help me see something, because there have been times, Tommy, customers come in, and I'm gonna tell you, Martin Lawrence shows up, when he plays that character.
Right.
And I think about this one particular episode when Gina put a relaxer in this woman's hair and didn't neutralize the hair. And some of y'all know the episode. You know the one I'm talking about, where the woman didn't have no hair after she did the relaxer and didn't neutralize it. I've come across some cases like that, Tommy.
That happens.
And then, you try to persuade the client after you've done something that you shouldn't have done. So we came up with this next segment, on the site that's going to be called Claim Your Stuff. You messed that client head up. You didn't see a vision. You didn't call out to the Lord or somebody. You didn't even allow the third eye to open.
I don't know too many people that's gonna claim it, but good luck with that. Camouflage.
I tell you what, we're gonna take a break and we'll be back in a moment.
All right.
Oh my goodness, Tommy.